In life, you can't please everyone. In illustration, it's the same. There will be some who like your style and some who don't. And even funnier, there will be some who like your style but who are bad clients and who you should turn down, especially for illustration commissions. Because, yes, turning down clients is part of being an illustrator. While it seems counterintuitive, like you lose opportunities, you lose work, you lose money, in fact, it's the opposite. It's very beneficial for you to develop as an artist and to grow along with your passion. So today, let's discuss the importance of defining clients, why turning down clients is beneficial, and most importantly, different signs to recognize a bad client and run away in time. And if you're new, welcome to this channel where we discuss art and business every Tuesday at 6 p.m. If you're interested, subscribe and always feel free to suggest topics you'd like to discuss. I'd be really happy to help if I can. Now, let's get back to business. Your ideal client is the one who loves what you do, who respects your rates, your conditions, your work, who is so pleasant to be around that you never feel like you're working. If you haven't yet defined your ideal client, then go and watch last week's video where we talk about it in depth before you continue with this one. We're going to focus mainly on illustration commissions today because that's really the place where you're most likely to get the wrong clients, and that can really hurt. Potential clients may come to you, but in the end it's your choice whether you accept them or not. And if you have a choice, you might as well choose to work with people you really like. So what are the benefits of defining your ideal client? First and most importantly, when working on commissions, it allows you to be on the same page as the client. You share a similar vision and values, and the client really appreciates your work and you create what they need in a style they like. The exchange will be much more fluid and pleasant, which is important for the client to feel comfortable and happy with your services, and also for you to feel respected and appreciated for your work, which will make you create out of passion and not out of obligation. Second, clearly defining the type of client you want to work with will allow you to be much more comfortable and confident during your creative process because you know that you're capable of delivering specific results and that this is what the client expects from you. For instance, if you specialize in portraits and someone asks you to draw a spaceship, you're bound to feel uncomfortable and doubt your abilities. Being clear about what you do and what you don't do will ensure that you have clients who are really happy in the end. While it may seem counterintuitive to turn down clients, it's super important if you want to make a living from illustration with happy clients who will love to recommend you. So here are several good reasons to say no. Most importantly, it's for your own well-being and sanity. Seriously, it's frustrating to always try to meet demanding deadlines and requests. So let's take the example of the portrait artist who agrees to draw spaceships again. Why are you doing this to yourself? As an artist, we often have a specialized field, like it can be character designs, backgrounds, animals, technical drawings, and so on. And usually you stay within that, and there's nothing further away from a character than a spaceship, if it's not one of your passions. Basically, do you really have the time and the burning desire to learn how to draw hyper-detailed spaceships for a single commission? If it seems fun to you, go ahead. But if you accept the commission because you're afraid of missing an opportunity or losing money, then you're wrong, I'm sorry. And I'm allowed to say that because I've been making those kinds of mistakes for years out of fears of not being able to make a living with art, which brings me to the next reason. Turning down clients avoids frustration. Money motivates to a certain extent, but if the project is too long, too difficult for your current skills, too different from what you usually do, then you'll feel very frustrated. You'll feel like you're not doing well, which will make you angry and sloppy because you can't do it, Or you will blame the client because you will feel like you're doing too much for what you're being paid, and because they're demanding too much of you, and either way your drawing will take a hit downwards. And in the end, when you get the money, you will feel guilty because you know you didn't give it your best shot, or you will be ashamed to put it in your portfolio. Now take on several non-ideal projects in a row and you'll feel like nothing is going right and illustration is your core, and you will most definitely want to stop. Again, I've been there and it really feels awful. Another reason to refuse, which is the same as before, is to avoid unhappy clients. There is nothing worse than finishing an illustration where the client is not happy. And I remember one whose last email was, "Well, yeah, let's leave it at that." And to this day I still don't know if they liked it or not. So only accepting projects where you know you can show results is the key to happy, repeat and referral clients. And especially if you're one of those artists who is afraid to put up your prices because you don't want to be judged like you're only doing this for the money, then you'd better learn to say no quickly, because that's exactly what the client will say about you if you deliver sloppy, loveless work. Word of mouth works both ways, positively and negatively, so do your best to tip the scales towards clients which you can really make happy. Another reason to turn down projects and clients that don't suit you is also to have some time and happiness for yourself. Turning down projects that don't suit you means making time for other projects that are really important to you and where you can really enjoy drawing. Imagine that you have accepted a long project just because there was nothing else that you were afraid to refuse, although it didn't motivate you, and now you're being contacted for a new project that you would love to illustrate and that thrills you to the core, but you have to turn it down because you have too much work to do with the other one which you actually didn't want to do. Gosh, that's frustrating. And saying no to projects that don't fit means you have time for projects you're passionate about, time to improve your art skills, time to build your portfolio and look for clients who really fit you, time for personal projects like preparing your products for conventions, your next manga, and time to be fully available when the right clients come knocking at your door. Lastly, turning down clients is good for your portfolio. It will be much easier to focus and perfect one area to get future commissions rather than spreading yourself thin with different projects or worse, different styles. For example, let's say you create family portraits with a Disney style, then hyper-technical medical illustrations and children books. Sorry, but where do you fit in? Whereas if you have one or two guidelines, such as character designs and fantasy universe, it's much easier for clients to understand your style and your passions. And you will have much better chances of being contacted. Here again, I refer you to the previous video of the ideal client and your positioning as an artist, link in the description. I've talked a lot about the importance of turning down bad clients and projects, and you may want to ask, well, what defines bad clients and projects, and when do you know whether to accept or shun them? As far as bad projects are concerned, I simply include anything that is too far out of your comfort zone and that you would accept either 1, to please the client, 2, for fear of missing an opportunity, or 3, to just get the money. And yes, it's again the example of the portrait artist who forces himself to draw spaceships. And for those who think it's good to challenge yourself and get out of your comfort zone, yes, it's true, and that will definitely make you evolve as an artist. But please not during a client commission. It's a big mistake to use a commission as an experiment to learn to master a subject really. Like, imagine you go to a Chinese restaurant and the new Italian cook is testing his menus live because he didn't have enough time to be trained. Like, hell no, you want your Cantonese rice and not some kind of risotto that somehow looks Asian. The customers pay you for a result, quick and good if possible. And you're here to behave like a professional and deliver that result. Or say it's not your specialty. If you want to push your limits, challenge yourself, learn new techniques, fine, but please during your own free time, not with clients. Now, as far as bad clients are concerned, there are several signs to alert you already before you sign the contract. The first sign is free work, because it means that this person does not even consider illustration work to be worthwhile at all. It's just a drawing, no need to pay. And it's often useless to negotiate, because if you do talk about money, this type of client will want the lowest possible rates and you'll be ripped off to death. In the best case, you will be offered advertising, because it is so beneficial for you and it can bring you lots of clients. In that case, please learn to say nicely, sorry, but advertising doesn't pay my rent now, and leave. In the same vein, we'll have the customers who ask for a free test. Again, that's a no. Your website, your portfolio, your already existing work is there to show potential clients what you do, in what style and what type of project. Testing is not free, it's paid just like a real order. And if you get the famous, you're competing with other more affordable artists. Sorry, it's so funny. That's usually a bad sign too. It's usually okay and normal to be in a selection process for big companies. But for individuals, it's either intimidation or they have really contacted random artists and don't care if it's you or the neighbor. They just want the cheapest one. It's a real lack of respect for you and your work from the start, and it's really unlikely to get better once the contract is signed. It's a sad fact, but some people search the internet to get a random list of artists and contact them to compare their quotes, regardless whether the style fits or not, and there is no point in demeaning yourself to please them at all costs. Also, prospects who whine a lot, who try to negotiate your rates down, who want to impose their own deadlines and conditions without even taking yours into consideration will be complainers level 1000 during the whole commission process. And they will always try to ask you for more and push your boundaries further. Remember, nobody knows what you do better than you, so it's not up to the client to tell you how they think you should work. Of the refusal conditions, your biggest sign to turn down a client is if they just don't want to pay a deposit or sign your quote. Both are very important to protect you, and they're an excellent and easy first test to see if the client is ready to commit. And yes, there are really people who just refuse to sign a quote and tell you, oh my word is good enough. Otherwise, this is very personal, but I think it says a lot. For your first meeting, if you don't want to bring strangers into your home, you will probably meet the client in a cafe or restaurant or whatever. So you're already making the trip for a free interview, and if the client doesn't even offer you a drink, they will be too stingy to pay for your commission. And it may sound pretentious, but it's the customer who invites, because it is he who needs your service. A €2 coffee or bottle of water will definitely not kill him. And so far, all of my good customers, without exception, have offered me a drink. And really, I've even been offered restaurants and a hotel room. And then there was this one special customer who arrived half an hour late to the coffee shop he had chosen in the town that suited him best. I didn't feel right squatting at the table without drinking while I waited, so I ordered a cup of tea and the client arrived. He then told the waiter he didn't want to drink anything, explained the project to me, emphasizing that he was looking for the best price among several artists and that he would send me his whole ebook to read in full to make sure I knew what I had to draw. And then he left after barely 20 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, needless to say, he didn't even respond to my quote. So, yeah. So here are the warning signs of bad clients to be avoided urgently and never ever to be signed. And there are probably some of you around here who are like me in the beginning, like the hopeful young artist who wants to give everyone a chance. There will indeed be some clients who don't know how to behave because they have never worked with an illustrator before, who just need to be gently educated and who will then understand and respect your conditions because you have taken the time to explain everything in a professional manner. Recently, for instance, a big company asked me for a test before the final order, and I said that it was charged as a normal commission because it takes time and research. They consulted internally, accepted my new conditions, and even sent me the new signed quote before I could even ask. So yes, some customers will be understanding, but for most of the cases mentioned, if a little explanation is not enough, there is no point in trying to convince them. And for all the reasons we saw in the second part, refusing clients who don't suit you is a strength, and it will make you progress much more serenely as a freelance illustrator. Now it's your turn to talk or rather to write. I'd love to read you. Have you ever dealt with clients where you thought, wow, I need to turn this down urgently? What signs alerted you? Tell us all about it in the comments so that we can motivate and help each other and hopefully have a good laugh because yeah, there are sometimes clients who are so funny. Especially when you want to make a living from commissions, there's a lot to learn about how to deal with client objections in the beginning, like having been ripped off for years with underpaid work and bad projects and some very difficult times to deal with, I can fully understand how overwhelmed you can be in the beginning. But as you gain more experience, you'll get the hang out of it and then you'll have a blast and everything will be so much fun. And if you ever need some help, I recommend you to take my special commission masterclass to define your portfolio, your pricing, your contracts, or my commission coaching where we negotiate live and real commissions to prepare you thoroughly to manage clients, to being convinced of your value and on what you can offer. Mastering all this too late had really want me to abandon freelancing altogether, and I really wouldn't want anyone to see their dream job turn into a nightmare as it did for me. So it's really important to me to support aspiring artists concerning commissions, and I really hope that my experience and all the mistakes that I've made over the last 10 years will help you make a living much easily of your passion as you wish. So here you go, you can click on the links in the description, you'll be redirected to the masterclass and coaching. Otherwise, we'll see each other for the next episode to go from art to business, as always every Tuesday at 6 p.m, alternating 1 week English, 1 week French. Thank you so much for being here and see you soon!